Welcome to Talking Strongman, guys. My guest today is a former Netherlands strongest man. He's competed at the World's Strongest Man multiple times, a world record holder, the one and only Wout Zijlstra. Wout, thank you so much for joining us today.
I like it also a lot to talk about.
I'm looking forward to it. I enjoyed watching you on in the UK on BBC Christmas time. You had a lot of kind of charisma when you were competing. You never went to Worlds that many times, but you did well both I think 2 times was it you're at World's Strongest Man?
Yeah.
And getting on the podium in 1998.
Yeah. That's true.
So that's not bad at all.
No, that's not so bad.
Are you still involved in Strongman at all? Do you still follow it or not really?
Yeah. I still follow it, and I organized also a lot of competitions.
Oh, you organize shows? That's cool.
Yeah, of course not last year, but I still do that, and I did also I organized a lot of competitions in the Highlands Games also.
So, because you went from Strongman to Highland Games, didn't you?
Yeah, that's true. So,
and do you still compete at all yourself, or you train much?
I did 2 years ago a competition, more than 50 years, older than 50 years, something like that. I like that.
Yeah. So what age are you now?
56.
56 and still going strong, yeah.
Yeah, still going strong.
So I want you to take me back to what got you into it in the first place. I mean, was it Strongman that you started training straight away, or was it did you go into some other sport, athletics, bodybuilding? A lot of guys, particularly the older guys that used to enjoy, we see Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff like that, got people into the gym. I just want to get your story. What got you firstly into the gym and into training, and then into Strongman?
Yeah, that's my story, of course. My dad was a butcher, so we have to work a lot. Also, when I was young, my brothers, and but I saw the Strongman on television with Jeff Capes, John-Paul Sigmarsson, the strongest man of the world. But I didn't went to a gym of something like that. I was playing football and boxing a little, but the most time I worked. And but the organizer from the Strongest Man of Friesland, so Friesland is the north of Holland.
Okay.
And he organized the Strongest Man of Friesland, and he came to live in my village.
The organizer.
Yeah, the organizer, and I was in the village house for a little party, and he was there also, and he invited me for a competition. He said to me, it was Wout de Jong, he's still involved by the Strongest Man of Holland and Champion Leagues, yeah. And he involved me. He asked me, I heard you are very strong, and I was 22, and I said yes. And he had a paper with him, and I have to sign for that I compete at the Strongest Man of Friesland. And when I arrived for the first time for the competition, I saw all the guys with big muscles, and I was not used to that. Bodybuilders and powerlifters, but I did well, and that was the reason I started with Strongman, and also the television, and Jeff Capes and
just watching it back.
So that was my.
Did they show a lot of strongmen on TV in Holland back then?
Yeah. So the Strongest Man of Holland was a big television show, and the Strongest Man of the World also. Yeah.
Cool.
And no, you know that before 1988 we had only 3 senders, so everybody was watching.
Yeah.
So when I won the Strongest Man of Friesland, and then I was invited for the Strongest Man of Holland, and I became second in the first competition. And it was on a beautiful island here in Friesland, Ameland, and everybody. I had a feeling that everybody in Holland was watching that show, because it was a good television program. You saw the beach on the island and all the old things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they did also the same with the Strongest Man of the World in that time. Show something for the country, some history. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to always show different.
That was a great. And then they told me, of course, I was a butcher, and I had to compete against a policeman and a farmer, and so that there was a lot of more about the jobs you did. You know, where you came from.
Where you came from, yeah,
where you came from. There was more. Zoomed in on that, and
I guess now when we have a lot of guys that are professional strongmans, but back then it was literally a policeman, a butcher, a farmer, a mechanic, maybe something like that, and then you had some in America certain wrestlers or things like that. But
so okay, of course, and of course you had also a power lifter, one of the best power lifters and weightlifter, but yeah.
So you're, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your first national competition was 1991.
Yeah, my first Strongman of Holland was 1990, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Where did you place in that one?
That was in Ameland.
And that was you came second.
Yeah. Behind Ted van der Parre.
Yeah, Ted van der Parre, obviously world's strongest man back in those days. You actually had a lot of good guys in Holland at the time.
At that moment, yeah. The third place, Ted van der Parre first, I'm second. And Berend Veenenberg, third place.
Yeah, and Berend, he was another great strongman.
Yeah, he was also a boy. He was a very good powerlifter. And Ted van der Parre, I'm 6'6", so. I'm a big
tall man, yeah.
That's for a Parre 7 feet, maybe more. So I was also impressed, yo.
I'm sure you didn't have to look up to many people, but he was a huge man.
So still, it was my first competition, and I saw Ted van der Parre maybe for the first time. I was very impressed. Yeah.
Do you still keep in contact with any of those guys?
Yeah. Of course, also on Facebook, but. Sometimes I found, and our first strongest man of Holland was Gerard Dupri.
Yeah, I know, yep.
And I had also contact with him, and he died last year. He passed away last year, and but his family phoned me the same day and asked me to put it on Facebook. But so it's going now, and then everybody knows it. But still, I had a good contact with Gerard Dupri and Ted van der Parre. Siem Bulfse, I have him on Facebook also. Nice. Big names from the past. And,
yeah, they are. I mean, I watch a lot of the old stuff, and I enjoy watching the old strongman contest. Sometimes I think I enjoy watching the old stuff more than the newer stuff because I competed in the newer stuff.
Yeah.
The athletes are just my rivals, whereas you guys were the people I looked up to. So I still enjoy sort of watching the older ones. I think when you get to being an athlete, you've got to be sort of focused on performing your best, and you can't look at these guys as idols because then you're distracting from what you did. But obviously before that, it's nice to watch back at the guys that inspired you.
And Laurence, of course, also that it was a start, and now you are in the strongman world. Yeah, the records, the level is much higher, but I think that's normal.
But I think that that's one thing. One of the reasons I try and do these interviews with some of the not just the new guys but the older guys as well. Yeah, we all like to see records being broken, but you've got to still admire the people that paved the way in the first place. I think if you look at any sport, there's always going to be evolution in terms of records. Training gets better, nutrition gets better, the science behind all these sports gets better. But you guys obviously laid the foundations in I think. When you guys had a certain number to beat that was a record, so you push to that number, and then obviously we take it on even further, and there'll be guys in 10, 15, 20 years time that are destroying the numbers now, but it's still being a champion of your era is still a huge thing. And I look at the guys like Bill Kazmaier, you look at what he was doing before your time even, and then you competed against some great guys, Sven Carlsen, Hugo Ahler, Magnus Samuelsson, it's really the guys that sort of got me into strongman. So it's tell us what it was like competing against those guys.
Yeah, that was a great. Magnussen. He was. It was for me also unbelievable. He was deadlifting 400 kilos and squatting many kilos and maybe also. That was for me nice to compete against him. He was unbelievable strong. But we also had events that I was better, weight for height, and but his basic was.
I think that's one of the beauties of strongman, though, is the variety in events allow for different types of physiques to sort of excel. And I know someone like yourself isn't the biggest squatter or deadlifter in the world, but you were extreme. Like weight for height, I believe you had the 56 pound weight for height world record.
Yeah, the weight for height was of course one of my best. I almost won that everywhere, and that was my specialty. And so I had also the respect from Gerrit Badenhorst, and because they were better on other events, but the weight for height was special. And I think, of course, the competition was also great against people. I also watched them on television and then compete against them.
Sure.
Same as Jeff Capes. I competed a few times against him.
You compete against Jeff?
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
And so that was in Highlands Games, but Highlands Games Strongman, and that was also great because I had good memories, and Capes was the strongest man of the world, and Magnus, and that was I respect that very much. It was a big title. Yeah, still it's a big title, but
it's still a big title.
For me, that were also heroes. And John Paul Sigmarsson, he was in Friesland for the strongest man of Friesland. He was referee, and but he came also in my dad's and my brother's butcher shop. So I still have what I forgot a lot, Laurence, was now it's normal making photos. Photos. I never did it, so I have only a few.
I think that's one of the.
That's the mistake I made.
Now it's like everyone does it. Even from my, probably the first 8 to 10 years of my career, I have very little footage and photos because I was always just traveling on my own. I didn't have someone to record, what I was doing and it's nice to have the memories, but it's nice to see those photos.
I forgot that, and you also, but because that time was special.
The definitely. I think that's one of the good things these days with the social media side of things, and there's positives and there's negatives. But I think being able to sometimes when you're on Facebook and you get like a memory pop up from 10 years ago or something like that, it's quite nice to see.
Quite nice. Yeah.
Remind yourself that you were one of the best in the world at one point.
Yeah.
So I was looking through your results, and you've done a fair few strongman competitions, but I believe it took you nearly 10 years to win Holland's Strongest Man.
Oh yeah.
So it didn't just come straight away for you.
I think I was 3 times second and a few times third. Yeah. No, I lost against Stefan Parra. I lost against Berend Veenenberg, and I was more maybe an athlete, but they were good with the deadlift and the power lifters. So that was my weakest point, squat and.
Did you work hard on them as they were your weaknesses, or were you?
So I tried to train hard on that, and later we trained together, Berend and me, Berend Veenenberg. So we did, because what the teams was also very popular. The couples
World Team Championships.
World Team was very popular, and we won the competition in Holland, World Strongest Team, Berend and me, and that was many times on Eurosport and on the Dutch television, and that was a great competition.
Yeah.
And then we trained together, and that makes myself better to train with a powerlifter, how to powerlift.
Yeah.
And I had not the knowledge for that, and the knowledge I have now, because guys as Bernd Veenenberg, so they were very young, or they trained for powerlifting, and so that. What I know now,
I think we'd all love to do
that.
Start again with what we know now. That would be.
I trained different. But that's the only thing I did. Also, Laurence, was I liked the Highland Games very much, and when I did a very heavy deadlift, my hammer throwing and my shot put was
not so good.
For a few weeks, not good, that was stiff, So maybe I had to make a choice. 1 year only strongman, that's what I know now, of course, but
okay.
Because I liked both so very much. Jeff Capes, he was referee on the Strongest Man of Friesland, 1988. Strongest Man of Friesland, and he invited me for the Highland Games, and so I became in the Highland Games, and Paul, I like that also very much, tossing the cable, and so I did all the years both, and maybe I had to make more a choice, but
you enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's also important.
I think for people to understand, there's a lot of people that they're so focused on just winning. Sometimes you forget to enjoy it, and I think it is important to enjoy the journey.
Yeah, you're right. So I enjoyed it very much. 1 week in Strongman, 1 week in Highland Games.
I don't know how you feel as well, but I do better when I'm just enjoying it. Sometimes when I start putting that pressure on myself and it's all about winning, I start to really just not want to go to the gym and not want to train. Whereas when I just get back to, okay, I'm just doing this for me, I don't worry about everyone else, enjoy it, then I start performing better and I get stronger, and I think you relax a bit more, and you can you do a lot better.
And that is true, and I enjoyed every competition.
I think that was obvious. I mean, from what I remember watching you, especially at World's Strongest Man, you just looked like you had fun. Yeah, serious when you're competing, but you
still I liked it very much, and also the competition against each other, show them that you're stronger. I like that also very much, and not of course competing each other, but friends after it, and I like that.
I think that's one of the great things with Strongman. Particularly your generation. You guys all compete hard against each other, but you all seem to be really good friends. After the shows, and a few parties afterwards as well.
Parties, yes, for sure.
So what was it like World's Strongest Man in 1998 when you came third? I mean, I know that was and this isn't to take anything away from any of the guys that performed well, but there was a lot of struggling with food and illness that year, wasn't there?
It was in Morocco.
Yes.
And we're not used to that, to drink the water from the shower and that kind of things. I think we had a lot of troubles there, but it was also a very hard competition. I think.
Was that the year they had 10 groups?
Yeah, I think for the first time. Yeah. 40 competitors.
40 athletes and 10 groups. That's crazy.
Yeah, 10 groups for 4. Yeah, so it was a battle before, and so only one.
Just one person goes to the final.
Yeah,
that's tough.
No, that was a tough competition. And when the food is not okay, I think that was a problem. Yeah, the food, because all the vegetables and are washed in water, and we're not used to that. But everybody knows it. And then it's you have to take care for what you eat and what you drink, and that's also one of the things. But you cannot you cannot hate you for that. I thought Magnus Samuelsson had a lot of food brought by himself.
Did he?
Yeah,
he was smart then.
He was smarter than yeah. So that's also a competition. Where do you go? What you need?
Oh yeah. I mean, now a lot of the guys do take their own food. They're all very sort of scientific. I'm not. I'm lazy. I'll just eat what's there.
Yeah.
But you know, I do know some of them that do, and you have to respect their dedication. So it's being as professional as possible, I guess. But you know, it's I mean, the third place at World's Strongest Man is a huge achievement. You competed again at Worlds in 2001.
Yeah.
How was that year for you?
Yeah, that was a year I did the most competitions for me ever. I think more than 30 every weekend. Yeah, all over the world. Also America, a lot of Highland Games, and I felt very strong, but I didn't have the power. It was September, I thought, that competition in Zambia. I was feeling okay, but I missed the power. I think I was the 8th. Yeah, I was 8 there. And I thought by myself I was strong enough for the podium again, but that was not what happened. So
you still made the final 2000.
Still make the final, yeah. But what you said, I made too much fun in the other competitions. Yeah, no?
Okay.
I had to take rest, but
it's hard when you compete that often. You don't really have time to train and get stronger. You're just trying to maintain the level that you're at.
Yes, that's
and then there's the higher chance of getting injured as well when you're competing so often. Yeah. But you know, I guess that was a mix of Highland Games and Strongman, not just Strongman shows, was it?
No.
It was just Strongman or both?
That year?
Yeah.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
I did a lot of Strongman also that year, but in the week, Scotland, you have everyday Highland Games.
Actually, in the week you're competing as well?
Yeah.
And then on the weekend doing Strongman shows?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I did a lot that year. Yeah.
Your body must have been broken by the end.
Yeah, I had some rest after that Strongman competition. Yeah, that's true.
It shows.
It's also a test for yourself how far you can go. How many competitions it was.
So when you start,
I won that year a few big competitions also in the Strongman.
I saw
Dutch
you
Grand Prix but also Highland Games. I won big competitions that year.
I was looking through some of the results, and you won a few kind of was it Super Series and shows.
Yeah, that was a good year of me. Yeah.
You beat all the top guys.
Yeah,
competing, and I think it shows with Strongman. I think with the right events, when you're elite level, on your day you can beat anyone, and it's
you're right, Laurence. That's what.
And I think that's the beauty of Strongman.
On your mind, and you have always a chance. You have always a chance. You never know. And
I think one of the things I love about Strongman is the variety in events, and it's. In powerlifting, it's going to be squat.
Yeah, what.
And I like powerlifting, but my first love is always Strongman because of that variety. And, every single competition can be different. It's harder to sometimes predict who's going to win. And, one change in event can make a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And then you have, in my time, now I see some new events, but we had the joke race. The joke was new in my time. After I competed a few years Strongman, and then they came with a joke race. Oh, yo.
Yeah, I like that one.
It was great, to nobody practiced it, and
no, I think that's
good to see.
The variety in events back then was better. I think there was always new things coming through, whereas now it's a little bit more standardized. I mean, do you watch modern Strongman? Do you watch any of the new competitions? You see the guys who impresses you out of the new breed of Strongman?
Yes, I have seen Haftar, of course, Haftar and Eddie Hall, the deadlift, of course, and I've seen you also, Laurence. That impressed me. I didn't expect that so many people deadlift 400 kilos.
I know. Now it's just a normal number now, 400 kilos.
So in my time, we said against each other, it's not possible 500 kilos deadlift. Gerrit Baderhorst, and they were unbelievable strong deadlift.
Oh,
yeah. But so that I didn't expect that, and also the log lift. So it's good to watch. But the last Strongman I saw a lot of loading and reps. I like that also much. You know, you have to be strong, but you're
more like when Mariusz Pudzianowski was sort of...
Yeah, Mariusz Pudzianowski, that's what I liked. And of course, Citroenus and big strongman. But I like the loading races and the against each other.
I love seeing the head-to-head events when you've got people. I think you might have done some yourself where they had like 5 or 10 guys head-to-head on an event. That looks cool, and I think in terms of competition, it adds more pressure.
Yeah.
Rather than just one at a time going. All at the same time. I think that's an interesting element because you're thinking about the guy on the side there, and you know it can make you stumble or make a mistake, and you know it's. I'd love to see more of that in some of the modern shows. Seeing more guys go head to head, even all 10 or something like that.
That's great to watch. Spectacle.
I don't suppose you've seen any of this year's World's Strongest Man. There's
a few things on the internet.
There's a young guy who won this year. He's only 24 years old.
He's only 24.
Alexei Novikov. I think he'd impress you with his speed and agility. And, you know, he was a good all-round athlete, but still very, very strong as well. It's the guys now, they just get stronger and stronger, but they can still move well.
It's still, that's getting. We have in Friesland the 11 City skating tour. It's very famous. It's more than 200 kilometers ice skating.
Yeah.
And I did it a few times, you know.
200 kilometers.
Yeah, and then you are a big hero winner. But I like to do that also, you know.
That shows the kind of diverse athlete you are.
You do everything. Yeah, you can do everything.
Do you still do a lot of activity now? You still keep fit and you're training yourself?
Yeah, I have my own gym, and I have a farm. I have a few sheep. That's my farm. But inside of the farm, I have a big gym.
Yeah,
and so I can train when I want. And my the two boys and my daughter, they like training also.
Well, I was going to ask you. I mean, I'll ask you. How old are your boys?
The youngest is 18 years and the oldest is 23.
Do you think they'll follow in Dad's footsteps?
Yeah, then I don't think the strongman. The youngest is the youngest. He's boxing now.
Cool.
It's also a good sport.
Yeah.
And the oldest one, he was a Dutch champion discus and shot put, and also. But he is now going for study first. He's 23. Yeah, sure. But I think he likes the Highland Games always.
The Highland Games is I think it's just a little bit less taxing on the body, isn't it? You can do it for longer. You can do more competitions. Yeah. I've done a couple of the Highland Games competitions. They're just fun.
Yeah, you're right.
You can compete. You can have fun, and you can still feel like you can walk the next day.
yes. So that's the nice part of the Highland Games. And you can eat everything, you know. For a strongman, I always have problems. I'm a good eater, but I always
you struggle to put weight on.
Yeah.
How big were you at your strongest then?
How heavy I was? Yeah. So I think I was on the best when I was 140 kilos. That's more than 300.
And you were 6'6", so that was a big man back then.
Yeah.
Now 140 kilos at World's Strongest Man is on the smaller side.
It's on the smaller side.
But it's,
But still, they are heavier, and you also. But your condition, I respect that.
When you see someone like Hafthor who
move,
200 kilos and could still move, that's scary.
That's scary.
But no, I mean, I was saying that, you know, Alexei Novikov, who won this year, is about 135 kilos max. So it shows, you know, it's not always about being the biggest.
No.
And that variety in events makes such a big difference. You can change one event and get a different result completely.
Oh yeah.
But where was your favorite place that you went to with either Strongman or Highland Games? Obviously, that's one of the great things with these sports. They take us all over the world. Where was your favorite place you got to compete?
Yeah, of course that was Scotland.
Scotland, yeah.
And
it's a beautiful place.
He just passed away, Dougie Edmonds. Yeah. And he took me in his house as family, you know. I have also a family feeling. I slept in his house, and he brought me to the competitions, and that was a great time, and that's a special place for me. I have been a few years not in Scotland now, but still in my mind to go back like a tourist.
Yeah, I've just come back from Scotland myself a few months ago. It's a beautiful place. It really is. Yeah. I think the history with some of the, you know, classic stones that they have up there, and the Highland Games and stuff like that. It's I'm looking forward to the world being back to a bit more normal, and being able to go up and do some. I'd like to have a go at. Do you know, like the Dinny stones? And there's a set of stones called the Nickel stones. I want to try and do them, but unfortunately, right now we're still just trying to get through this pandemic. But once we do, and things will get better, we'll be able to travel again. But it's been a pleasure to talk to you about.
Thank you, Laurence.
You know, like I said, you know, you never won World's Strongest Man, but you were always performing well when you were there. You've won countless international shows. You're a national champion. You know, a real legend of strongman. I just want to thank you for coming on to talk to us all. I know lots of the fans will enjoy seeing you again. Is there anything you'd like to say to people that used to watch you, you know, growing up, or new people getting into the sport that might be some good advice that maybe you could give them thinking back on your career?
Yeah, of course. You have to do what's in your heart. I did it also, competition and make fun, but your body can do a lot. I heard always many people around me, you destroy yourself and injury, and I never had injuries almost, and still very fit. I'm 56, so it's no problem to do that sport, and especially the Highland Games. Oh yeah, you have to try it.
Oh, definitely. I'll add, I've had injuries, and I still wouldn't change anything. I've loved what I've done, you know, and if you do get injured, you can come back from it always as well.
Always.
You know, if you love what you're doing, then definitely follow your heart. But
definitely.
Thank you so much for joining us, Wout. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully at some point, you know, maybe I'm in Holland soon. We can meet in person.
Yeah.
But thank you again. All the best. I'll see you soon. Okay. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us on Talking Strongman today, guys. We'll be back with more strength legends soon. Take care. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.